should you watch The Chosen? You have the liberty to do so. It just doesn't seem wise to consume Jesus.
He is afraid that if people watch The Chosen, they will get to know Jesus Christ in a way that doesn't seem like the Jesus Christ he has taught from the pulpit for 30 years. So he attacks The Chosen instead of venerating The Chosen for what it is, because he also knows that the more people get to know Jesus Christ, the more they realize the Mormon version of Jesus is closer to reality than his.
Which, honestly, I think is the version of Jesus Christ that the majority of Christians I've ever spoken to believe in.
And the hilarious part is the evangelical community doesn't realize how they behave exactly like the Sanhedrin did.
Are you sure you want to consume a subpar Jesus that doesn't offend people in unorthodox sects of Christianity?
The logic of this guy is literally separate water fountains.
Would you refuse to step foot into a building that had a Mormon bricklayer? Welcome back to Midnight Mormons, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Cardinal Ellis, and today I'm joined in the studio by Kwaku L. and Brad Whitbeck. And you love The Chosen. I love The Chosen. Everybody loves The Chosen, except for Sola Scriptura evangelicals, who find a way to pretty much hate everything. One of the principal among them are friends at Wretched Radio. So we're going to react to the cluster bomb, the incestuous fight that is their theology, and show exactly what Joseph Smith meant when he said their creeds are an abomination via modern pop culture on this podcast. Where you guys say, is that a good intro for what's going to happen?
I just want to preface this by saying,
okay,
this is the same guy. I don't know his name.
Okay.
Hey, he's the guy who talks like this.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you about the Book of Mormon. Like that guy.
Dude, whenever we do these debunkings, we always just descend into saying,
I know. I didn't even finish my point. My point was, though, weeks ago he made this rumor about The Chosen.
Who did?
This guy, this uptight Adam Sandler looking Connecticut guy.
This is the guy where the rumor came from?
Yeah. So in the Chosen, there's a really cool line where Jesus says, I am the law of Moses, which is bars. That's a cool line, okay?
Yeah.
He's like, well, Dallas Jenkins is getting his set from the Mormons. Did you know that I am the law of Moses is actually in the Book of Mormon? It's not. But he made it up. And so then all of his little lackeys, his little troglodyte followers, start making these stupid videos attacking Dallas Jenkins, who is literally just an evangelical trying to make a show about Jesus, but they hate anyone doing anything good. And so all these dumb, balding, fat pastors on their stupid webcams are just, look, can you believe The Chosen is so, that's not real Christianity because they use the quote from the book. They're so dumb.
And here's the thing. How does that not constitute, like, where do you draw the line on thou shalt not lie? Like, because that was a lie.
These people literally...
That was not true.
They are teenage girls at a high school lunch table. That is modern evangelicalism.
We haven't touched a single minute of this debunking, and we have already just, like, absolutely slandered.
He's just raised his hand.
If you can't tell that we're coming to this with a little bit of baggage right now, I guess, you know what I'm saying? There's your answer.
Well, I mean, there's
His voice
such a
is going to
thing.
make you mad.
Yeah,
Okay, fine.
There's, like, this toxic side of the evangelical community that I think this guy sounds like he's fueling and probably profiting from. So yeah,
and what's funny is you do mention profit. This is the only thing I'll say before we start. But you can't even look at this set and not just think this is what they meant in the Book of Mormon when they warned against priestcraft. I do not think that this man could be gainfully employed in anything other than shaming other evangelicals for not being biblical enough and going after Catholics and Mormons. Like, it's a good thing evangelical Christianity exists so that men like this have a job.
I'm sure he could do anything he wants. Look, the size of those hands, he could throw hay bales.
Can I just say?
Do great. Like, no, and
that'd be too much. That'd be too much work.
So much.
I'm just saying one more thing about his looks. Open a new tab. He's the unattractive version of Joel Osteen. Look at a picture of Joel Osteen. Look at him. Joel Osteen's a better looking version.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Look it up. Look it up.
I know exactly what Joel Osteen looks
Joel
like.
Osteen's got he's like the better looking version. Maybe it's the not being filled of hate that made Joel Osteen better looking.
Oh my God.
Maybe it's the years of anger and that just made him all this guy.
I love how we have just now. See, there's times when they say like, "Oh, that's an ad hominem attack," just because you say that somebody.
But we're not
lied.
using this to like deconstruct his arguments.
Yeah,
we're just making fun of him.
Yeah, we're just. I was about to say we just completely own it for the last like 10 minutes. We have utterly just not dismantled.
That's what they hate about our show. It's clearly a funny show. We always joke around, and so they can't say that we're like, oh, you guys are ad hoc because we're clearly just three guys screwing around.
We're just roasting this wretched radio guy for the first 10 minutes of our review.
Yeah, dude. I can compare. Look, when I gained weight, I started getting compared to Jack Black. So fine, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
They're worse people to be compared to.
I was about to say, I'm very happy about that comparison, though. I'll be honest with you. There's much worse.
After this, I want to talk about that other dude, that other pastor on YouTube. I want to fight him.
Oh, you have another challenge going on.
I want to fight this guy. I hate this guy.
Sock and boppers,
look,
golden gloves.
It goes. What's the cult in Apologia?
Oh yeah,
they're the worst.
Which Apologia guy? Because I feel like Jeff Durbin would take you.
Because I was going to say,
no, I'm talking about a level of hate. I think Jeff Durbin in the '90s, back when he was, he's gotten kind of like the beer belly now.
You think so? No, I think that just adds weight to like his martial arts career. Like that guy.
I don't know. I think he just has a demon that's been like on top of him that's been helping him fight better. But as soon as the demon leaves, he's not gonna have any strength. You know?
Oh my god.
No. So those guys are evil. But then this guy's right underneath. But then there's a guy on top of all of them who's way, way worse. I gotta find his name.
White guy.
No. James White is also no. He's also evil. But like, there's one dude who's worse than all of them. I gotta get his name. He is terrible, and he has he goes on and he talks like this. He sounds like if you had a black man do an impression of a southern white man from 1920. Like, he sounds like Bill from the freaking True Blood. Like, literally the silliest accent I've ever heard in my life.
Okay.
That's amazing. We'll have to look him up.
So now, 7 minutes into our podcast, our debunking.
I think this guy's gay. I'm kidding. I'm just saying things that are not even kind of true. It's completely fake accusations.
Oh my god.
Oh man, this is bad.
What about? Never mind.
Okay. Look here, guys. This all started with The Chosen. We're defending The Chosen here because it's a great show.
After we mocked this guy's looks.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Check this out. We're going to see what Wretched Radio has to say about The Chosen.
You love The Chosen. I get it. What Christian doesn't want to see Jesus face to face and hear him speak?
Yes.
But I think that there are 3 potent reasons that you should consider before you choose to watch The Chosen.
Okay, what do you... Oh, shoot, I was going to have you guys guess what you think he says, but let's see what he says.
Number 1, theology. It matters. Dallas Jenkins, he's an evangelical. He produces and writes The Chosen. However, there are other influences on The Chosen set.
Between the cast and crew and our distribution and marketing teams, there are over 200 people involved in this show.
Okay, what are these influences?
We obviously don't demand that everyone connected to the show comes from an evangelical perspective. We don't even demand that everyone is a believer. As long as the content itself is faithful, we're less demanding with those who help deliver it.
There's a Mormon producer.
Was there a reaction when a bunch of Latter-day Saints from VidAngel approached you and were like, let's make this happen, you know?
Oh, yeah.
There are also Roman Catholic advisors on set.
Oh, no.
And the fellow who plays Jesus is Roman Catholic. Now, Dallas Jenkins is fine.
Okay, pause for a second.
Okay.
What the heck? Here are the main problems. These people are Mormons, and this one's a Roman Catholic. How horrible can that be?
There's a Mormon producer.
This, by the way, shows you the tone of his audience. This is also a thing that the Apologia guys do. This is what James White does, this thing, where he'll be like, if a Mormon says something when I was talking to him, he'll say, wow, you made the same argument Muslims make. And then he expects his audience to be like, wow, well, if a Muslim says anything, it must be terrible. That's how these guys work. This is how their entire fan base is. they're horrified
Yeah.
by someone being different than them.
And here's the thing, like, just because you say it bad doesn't mean it is. You know,
Yeah.
like he's a Mormon. Like, this guy has a beard and lights on the background behind him. Like,
By the way, I feel so bad for Dallas Jenkins because like his social media feed now is just like unwatchable because like every 2 videos he's having to apologize for having to have that associated with Mormons in one way or another. Like, and the hilarious part is the evangelical community doesn't realize how they behave exactly like the Sanhedrin did. And Jesus Christ came back and said, okay, I'm going to tell you a parable and I'm specifically going to make the good guy a Samaritan because you guys behave in such a brain damaged, unhinged, irrational way towards Samaritans, forgetting they are actually real human beings also, that I'm going to call the good guy in this story a Samaritan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just so you guys all freak out, right? So look at this. Look at this. Like, this is how bad it is. Poor Dallas Jenkins, when asked by our
Let's make
buddy
this
Snell
happen,
over
you
there,
know?
if a Mormon was on set.
There are also Roman.
Just like, look at his face when he looks away from the camera. You know what I'm saying? He's like,
Let's make this happen,
oh no,
you know?
awkward. What?
oh man,
Oh no, you're
Oh, man.
associating
And
with Mormons.
I
Okay.
appreciate Dallas Jenkins so much.
Yeah.
For the way that he's handling all of this and like doing what he can to make the best possible production about the life of
I
Christ.
don't see how he's evangelical anymore. If the people you're trying to make the videos for, he's like kind of like a mini Jesus amongst the evangelicals. The people he's trying to save from themselves, you know what I'm saying, are the ones fighting him the hardest. It's not evangelicals saying, don't go watch The Chosen on BYU TV because an evangelical makes it. It's the evangelical saying, don't go watch The Chosen wherever it is because there's a Mormon producer. Like,
Well, to be fair, I think most of the evangelicals watching The Chosen are like having a good time.
Yeah.
It's just this small vocal amount of jealous, untalented hack pastors who have nothing to bring to the table, so they want to get views and money by ripping on other people who are more talented than them.
And
that guy could never make what Dallas has made.
And here's the thing, like, this is Satan's pattern. You take the good thing that has been made and you accuse it. You only ever criticize. You never create of your own accord.
But
Right?
And let me just say, whenever you're, I at this point, I don't trust anybody who uses the word theology anymore. Just because, look, no, seriously.
Yeah.
The first problem is his theology.
uh-huh.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to point out what I think is bad about what he may or may not believe of a very subjective topic.
That's based upon my twisted understanding that's only been filtered through 2,000 years of Christian creeds, aka voting sessions. You know what I'm saying?
That I'm now going to color with my voice to make you think
Yeah.
is sinister.
and insinuate that you're stupid for not understanding that Trinity that's not actually mentioned in the Bible, but I can explain to you through all of the context of the creeds. And now we're going to call it exegesis, when in reality, all it is being a spinster trying to modernize 1,500-year-old debunked theology, as Kwaku calls it. So, okay, look, we're going to keep going here. We're going to stick to the issues, and we're going to finish this and see what else is the problem with The Chosen, other than the fact that the best Jesus we've seen in cinema for 20 years, okay, is Roman Catholic. Heaven forbid. Let's roll tape.
And the fellow who plays Jesus is Roman Catholic. Now, Dallas Jenkins is fine with that sort of ecumenism because he believes Mormons and Catholics are our brothers who believe in the same Jesus.
Which we are, which is the number one thing that all of the creeds have stolen from humanity. This guy is bragging that we're the baddies for saying we're all children of God in God's way.
No, I'm pretty sure that in the Bible, at the end of it, when Jesus is giving his commission to the disciples, he says, go forth and tell everybody, hey, you are worshiping the wrong Jesus, right? That's what he says, right?
Also,
Not preach the gospel.
religion aside for 1 minute, whether you think we're saved or not.
Incoming ad hominem, go for cover.
If you're going to make a movie based in Israel, in America, you're going to shoot it in the West. I hate to break it to you. You're going to have to work with Mormon. At some point, this is just how film works.
Like with Goshen, with the set that the church has.
We have a whole set made in Jerusalem. You want to use it? Yeah, that's going to save us a couple $1 million. Great. Of course. Like, what? I'm sorry. It's like, that's like, oh, I made a movie. I'm making a movie about Joseph Smith. Can you believe that one of the gaffers is Hindu? I don't care. We're making a movie. Shut up.
That's literally like, I would challenge you, any evangelical that's watching this. Answer me this. If you had $1 million donation from a very wealthy member to build a new chapel because you needed a new community center, a new chapel to do your worship services, and you found out that one of the bricklayers was Mormon, is all of a sudden the building tainted? Is all of a sudden the unwashen contaminating your place of worship? Hold on. Should we now tear the chapel down and not use it because a Mormon touched it? Like, really, is that godliness to you? Like, answer that question in the comments below. I want to know, would you refuse to step foot into a building that had a Mormon bricklayer lay a portion of the foundation, or would you just accept that it's a beautiful place of worship and you can worship as you see freely inside? Because that's no different than building a movie. Building a movie takes hundreds of people, if not thousands of people. And if one of the producers ends up being Mormon, is the movie contaminated? Is this like Jim Crow racist South, where it's one drop of blood makes you unwashen?
No, I mean, yeah, seriously, like, what about the set? Oh, well, can you believe that some of the paint we ordered? The paint had powder in it from a Hare Krishna festival. No, it's like this, the logic of this guy is literally separate water fountains. No. Like, I'm sorry. Like, this is literally I don't understand why the Negroes are so upset. We gave them the water fountain right over there.
Yeah, no, okay. I interrupted you, Brad. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I definitely can't even begin to go back to where I was. Let's just keep going.
Okay, let's just keep going. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Okay, so the face of Jim Crow South right here.
Oh my gosh.
Wretched Radio. Let's see what's going on.
The stories of Jesus we do agree on, and we love the same Jesus. That's not something that you often hear. Sometimes it's like, oh, they believe in a different Jesus than we do.
Statement.
Yeah. No, it's the same. I mean, I'll sink or swim on that statement.
That couldn't be further from the truth.
Wait, stop. How many Mormon people do you think this Wretched Radio guy has actually interacted with recently? Dallas is on set working with people in the church all the time. Who do you think has a better grasp of what Mormon people think of Jesus? This Wretched Radio dude chilling in his basement studio who hasn't spoken to a Mormon except to tell them they're going to hell in the past 10 years.
I don't think it's basement. I think it's just funded by Priestcraft.
Oh, either way. Either way. I don't know. I just, when you have somebody like this guy telling you, let me tell you what the LDS people believe. It's like that pastor guy, that pastor kid, like the Kwaku guy.
Oh yeah, the Nakamura,
yeah,
the youth pastor down in LA.
Who's like, hey, I'm going to tell you what Mormons believe, and then he doesn't know what we believe,
and then he pronounces all the books wrong.
Yes,
like in the Pearls of Great Pricey, there's it's like what, and in the Doctrine Plus Covenants,
the Doctrine of the Covenants, yeah,
the Doctrine of the Covenants.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this guy knows what we believe. I don't think he cares to know what we believe. He just wants to paint division where he can so that he can keep on inflaming evangelicals and earning money off of it.
You know, you kind of just reminded me of something. When I was in church the other day, the conversation actually veered pretty political, and all the boomers were complaining about a lot of the social ills nowadays, about a lot of the, the gender stuff, the communist stuff, the progressive stuff, all this other junk, and they kept on saying, oh, we're lucky, we live in a red city in a blue state, kind of this and that. And they were just bemoaning the political changes, right? And they kept on talking about how we need to get more conservative again. And I actually kind of chastise people as a very outspoken person, at least socially, on conservative issues, not necessarily financially.
You're a conservative?
On many social issues, I am very conservative.
Are you sure?
But yes, very. But anyway, I said, now hold on a second. I don't think we necessarily need to become more Republican, and we veer very problematic very fast when you start mixing that kind of, I think it's impossible to talk morality without talking politics because they're intertwined. Mm-hmm. However, when you think that some party is going to save you, don't forget that Jesus Christ never endorsed a political party. This guy is hardcore anti-Democrat, which I can get, but he's oftentimes endorsing Republicans and stuff. And I brought up the point. I said, guys, the more Republican we get, the more Protestant we get, not Mormon. You know what I'm saying? And Protestantism in its purest form is horrible. It's this. It's it's Jim Crow South.
I think this guy
justification of different water fountains using the Bible. Like, he literally said, this movie is bad because a Mormon touched it. He invoked religious theology in order to other and second class an entire religious group that is 2% the population in the state he lives in.
To me, that's because this is a twisted version of what Protestantism could and should be.
You are much more benevolent.
Honestly, though, to me, this really just comes down to this guy probably has not spent a lot of time on film sets.
Oh, yeah, for
if
sure.
you literally ever
Just
think you're
his
going
own.
to get a film set in which everybody is ideologically aligned, you're stupid. That's not how the industry works.
Are you suggesting that us radio hosts are a bunch of tryhards that failed at acting and then failed at becoming journalists, so we just had to settle into the redheaded stepchild of entertainment radio?
No, it sounds like that was like a therapeutic thing that you were trying to. They just keep buying us plane tickets to come down here and talk.
I don't know what's going on. You know, okay, well, let's keep going. Let's see what he has to say. Here we go.
Mormonism teaches Jesus is a created being. That's heresy. Both Mormonism and Catholicism are work-based systems. They do not believe in grace alone, faith alone, in Christ alone.
Well, neither do you, or else why would the woman who touched Christ's garment have been healed? And why would Jesus Christ keep saying that your faith is beautiful? You know, go and sin no more. If sin weren't an action, he wouldn't say to not do it anymore. Action, okay, and faith and grace, they're like scissors. They both function off each other. They're like legs. You can't walk if you only have one leg of grace alone. You can't walk if you have the other leg, faith alone. That's why Paul said, show me your faith, I'll show you my works. Show me your works, I'll show you my faith. It's this just beautiful binary that anybody can understand. It's like a yin and a yang. Okay.
Well, here's the thing. I've spent enough time talking with these evangs where
oh, is that the phrase? Is the evangs?
Yeah, I call them evangs.
It sounds
like
close enough to a
fangs.
slur that
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
be just like, those evangs.
Well, it comes down to this. I've explained this to them. And it could be a whole room full of Mormons. I'll explain to them. They'll listen to Brad Wilcox's talk about grace. And they'll go, but it's not what you guys teach. And they go, okay, it is. They are so... They've jumped into the ship that we are a different religion than we actually are, and nothing will deter them. So it doesn't matter how much we explain it. It doesn't matter when we actually explain what after all you can do means.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't matter the time period it's written in. There's the Mosaic Law. None of that matters because Sandra Tanner and the Godmakers weirdos told them that we believe this, and they went to that like 2-day training on how to talk to Mormons. They can't. They don't care that they're wrong,
and they decide that we're lying about it. When in reality, the only thing I ever see them bring up is in 2 Nephi, where it says, "It is by grace we are saved. After all we can do," and they're like, "Oh, after all you can do, that's works. That's works right there." And it's like, you literally, they quote other parts of the Book of Mormon when they're talking about how evil it is. I watched Jeff Durbin do this the other day, where he's saying like they don't believe that they can be perfected in Christ, and I'm like, that's the end of the Book of Mormon. That's like Moroni chapter 10. It literally says to come unto Christ and be perfected in him. Like, they take pieces where they can and try to twist it.
I spent 3 hours with an evangelical who was fortunately intellectually honest enough that at the end of the conversation, which sometimes veered pretty debate-ish, but I kept my cool pretty well, he said, okay, I'm willing to accept that I have been fed false information and that maybe I need to see what you guys do. Because I kept on saying, no, that's not what we believe in. And here's the proof. Here's the scripture. Here's a talk. I fortunately had enough acumen in my brain. I was able to regurgitate enough of that stuff. But the example that finally won him over, where he started seeing like, okay, maybe I'm interpreting this wrong, was I said, you know, you have to put forth some kind of works to actually just show that, you're ingesting some of this and trying, right? We don't believe in just pure predeterminism where God has literally just chosen who will be saved and who will be damned. And we're just living out our lives, right, in a Calvinist way, unless you believe in Calvinism. But, I said, why would the woman who was cured of her blood issue have been cured once she touched Jesus's coat if the action of simply having enough faith to act enough to touch weren't a requirement? Why would Moses have said, just look at the serpent? I think sometimes it can be 99.9% faith and 1% works. I mean, 0.1% works. Sometimes literally your act of faith can just be looking up at the brass serpent that Moses puts on the top of the hill. Okay. Sometimes it can be reaching out and touching Jesus's cloak. But at the end of the day, it is partially works because that's how you show your faith. And it's not works like the Sanhedrin said, following the law of Moses, that get you into heaven.
And I love how this guy pretends like this wasn't debated within the Bible. Like that James didn't say works are still important, guys. Like it's definitely still an aspect. And back to his point about us having a different Jesus, because he then gives the criteria that it's because we believe in a created Jesus. We believe in the Jesus of the Bible, who is the only begotten Son of God.
Yeah.
The things that he is talking about are creeds.
Yeah.
All the arguments that he has come from creeds, not from the actual Bible itself.
Also,
and I don't think that's what the general Protestant person believes.
The silliness.
He's caught up in the weird difference between the pews and the pastor or the pulpit and the pew. He's one of the dudes behind the pulpit who's made up some weird thing that...
Quaker brought up a good point the other day in the pre-show where he said it's almost kind of like general Americanism, where Protestantism is what the elites want you to believe.
Oh, yeah.
It's not...
Yeah. Could you think Calvinism especially? Could you think of anything more Klaus Schwab-y and World Economic Forum-y than "Wir are the chosen ones, and you will take exactly what we say"? Like you
will have nothing and be happy.
Yeah, literally, you better walk in the right line, and you better accept the fact that some things don't make sense. How dare you notice corruption? How dare you notice inconsistencies? You just toe the party line.
And how dare you notice that what the Bible says when translated into the common tongue does not jive with what we are teaching, because what we're teaching has been put through this filter of academic creeds passed down in the Nicene
And not
Creed.
even just that. Also, this guy's very specific interpretation of that creed.
True.
I am just blown away by this, because I think people like Dallas Jenkins, they believe in the same Jesus. That's what he's talking about. And he said he will stick with that.
Also, though, the silliness of saying, just because I know something else about someone that you might not know doesn't mean that's a different person. Like, that is the craziest logic I have ever heard. Hey, did you hear about Brad? Brad literally can't eat Jell-O anymore. That's a different Brad. The Brad I know. I never say he couldn't have Jell-O. What are you talking?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's not a different person. Sometimes it just means you know different things about people. That is insane logic. That is the logic of a schizophrenic.
Well, and it's funny when you mention logic. Something else that I've noticed is all anti-Mormons, whether atheistic or evangelical, are all the same, because they depend so much on their big brain appeal to authority. I have my doctorate from academia, therefore you're stupid for believing in irrational things like religion that can't be proven by science. And by science, I mean science TM, because we only publish articles of predetermined notions we already believe in. And all of the evangelicals on the other side, do you notice how they're always touting their divinity degrees? You know what I'm saying? How they're like, well, when you exegete this and God says, Jesus says, I am the Son and I go to my Father, my God and your God, Mary. What he's really saying is not two people, one Son and one Father. No, what he's really saying is this very convoluted idea that steam is water, is ice, but different and the same, but eternal, but momentary, but never lasting and never happening. You know what I'm saying?
Like, what kind of car are you trying to get me to buy for $100,000 more?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, don't believe your lion eyes and your lion ears. This simple, plain and precious truth, as taught by a man who spoke in simple parables. No, you're missing the boat. Let's exegete this. And by exegete it, we mean we'll put it through this filter of lies I've been taught by religious academia.
Which they get angry at us for saying we believe the Bible as far as it is translated correctly. And then have the gall to come tell us, well, this is what it really has to say.
And then they fight about their interpretation.
Yes. It's like you believe the same. You also believe the Bible as far as it's translated correctly.
And here's they make fun of us specifically for some of the stuff in the Pearl of Great Price, which, frankly, all Mormonism is Christianity explained. So whenever someone's
good.
you believe the God, he's a man on a planet. Okay, well, where is heaven? Okay, because you talk to any Christian, they're eventually going to admit that there is a physical place. Great. So that's probably some body of matter. Great. So we're just the first ones to say what it is.
Mm-hmm.
These guys over here, though, are talking about the hypostatic union, which is
all these words that you can't understand. Theotokos.
Yeah.
Wait, what? You know?
Like, what? Well, you guys believe you're going to become gods one day. Okay, fine. Break down what that means. Because by exact definition, that means we're going to be Odins. And we don't believe that, and neither do you. So what do we mean by gods? Oh, we think we're going to live forever with perfected bodies and grow in knowledge and to get to explore forever.
Like
and
regular
become
mortal children.
Joint heirs with Christ, you know,
That's
like
not
it says
crazy.
in the Bible.
That's
like,
not crazy. But you want it to be crazy because you guys, evangelicals, excel in vagueness.
Mm-hmm.
But Joseph Smith helped us just define things and go, okay, this is clearly what this means and what this means and what this means. And they're mad about it. But in their vagueness is where they get to light their torches and throw their pitchforks and say that everybody who's different than me is bad.
That was really good, that they excel in vagueness. That's, I really like that. So anyway, let's keep going. We are now like 30 minutes in, and we've only done 2 minutes and 10 seconds of this poor guy's video. So anyway, we're halfway through. Let's see what else he has to say.
Is there any rank heresy in the Chosen? Not that I'm aware of, but
Then why are you fighting it? Keep going.
if Mormons and Catholics on set are not offended by the Chosen, it is certainly not explicitly evangelical.
what?
So first off, only
What the freak was that?
Yeah, you got to be offended on set.
You should be
Like-
in order to be
Protest, damn it!
Wait. He says, in order to be properly evangelical, you ought to be offending Catholics and Mormons? What? What
Okay.
is this guy? What does that even mean? Like, let's see what he has to say.
Let's keep
Does
going.
he expound on that?
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to consume a subpar Jesus that doesn't offend people in unorthodox sects of Christianity?
A subpar Jesus, the most beautiful, spirit-feeling, and this is why Jesus Christ said, don't cast your pearls before swine. At this point, Dallas Jenkins has just cast his pearls before some literal evangelical swine. And I'm sorry, but there's just
Like how
no words.
Notice how he doesn't give any explanation for how this representation of Christ is actually subpar.
And he does that really high and mighty kind of, you just shouldn't bother doing this, as though he could make 1 minute of The Chosen.
yeah.
As if he could
or
make
something
1 minute.
better. You know,
Yeah.
like this is a fantastic show that is helping people come to know and understand and love Jesus Christ more. And you're going to stand here, or sit here and tell people, it's not good enough.
Dude, when you watch the documentary of how The Chosen was made, have you seen the follow-up documentary that's kind of a little behind the scenes where they got Gen Z kids to come and binge watch The Chosen? One of the kids, have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen that video.
No. Just The Chosen actually excelled with the youngest audience demographic. They were thinking the boomers would like it the most, and that maybe Gen Xers and maybe some older millennials would like it. But Gen Z ate it up in all of the demographics and the streaming analytics and everything. So they actually got a group of 11 or 12 young Gen Z kids to come in, and they didn't tell them what show they would be binge watching. They didn't tell them anything other than, audition for the show. If you're interested in giving us our opinion and you got even half a personality and an interesting backstory, we'd love to have you on, binge watch the show. One of the guys is like crying and hugging the actor that played Jesus at the end. And he's telling like, Christ wants you to get to know Jesus. And like, we watch a conversion to Christ happen in real time. And this cat, the only thing he can do is moan that, well, it was a Mormon producer. It's somebody told me once, I read this meme once that said being a conspiracy theorist means that you study multiple primary sources and longitudinal surveys over extended periods of time, even visiting the actual locations where some of these instances might have occurred, and develop a well-rounded and nuanced opinion just to have some troglodyte on the internet say, well, that's just a conspiracy theory, because they watch like 5 minutes of TNT or CNN. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I feel like this is exactly what the Wretched Radio-esque guys do. Dallas Jenkins can literally sacrifice a decade of his life trying to tell one of the single best Bible stories ever, just to have this guy with his audience say, theology matters. Now, are there any rank heresies? I don't know.
And then calling it subpar Jesus. Like, that is...
Like, what's a better portrayal? I wonder if he'll even say. Can we keep going?
See and before we keep going, though, evangelicals, like, you're on the hook here. Like, this is your guy. And it's not just him. Type in the chosen biblical reasons not to watch, and there's 15,000 pastors saying this exact same stuff. Like, tell us, what is the correct
You cannot be
Jesus?
A successful evangelical and reach the masses without getting canceled by the pastors. They've done it to Lauren Daigle. They did it to Maverick City. Now they're doing it to the show. They hate the idea of Christ converting people en masse that does not go through their specific tunnels of manipulation.
Ironically behaving like the Sanhedrin that crucified Jesus.
Oy.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, okay. We'll finish this up. Here you go. Wretched Radio.
Number 2, sufficiency. Yes, Jesus said a lot more than the words recorded in the Bible, yet the Holy Spirit determined that only some of his words should be written down because they are the only words we need for all of life and godliness. If you watch The Chosen because it helps you to learn about or love Jesus more, you're consuming an unauthorized source.
Unauthorized by who?
By him.
By man?
By him.
Trust in the arm of flesh?
Yeah.
By him? Yeah, that's the thing with these sola scriptura guys. Like, at the end of the day, you're placing yourself above God as the arbiter of what truth is. Jesus, and the problem with their idea, when he says sufficiency, he is muzzling God and not letting God speak. There are revelations in which Jesus Christ will return. And unless he returns as a mute, he's probably going to say some things. God might say, behold, my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. It says that in all these revelations, the righteous will be welcomed into heaven, and God might utter the words, thank you, my beloved and well-worked servant.
Well done, thou good and faithful servant.
Yeah, well done, thou good. If Jesus Christ were to descend from heaven, stand in front of the Wretched Radio guy and say, well done, my good and faithful servant, he would literally say, the Bible is sufficient. Don't you dare utter another word. The Bible is sufficient.
Also, and here's, again, they had to write down on papyri. Like writing back, it wasn't your notes on your phone. It was kind of a process.
There was no cloud backup.
So yeah, you're gonna write down the highlights. Like this, he thinks it's bad for a TV show to exist to have other lines in it that are not in the Bible because all you need are the words written in the Bible. Which one? Which Bible? Because the Ethiopian Tahado Orthodox Bible doesn't count. Roman Catholic Bible doesn't count. No, so all the other Bibles don't count except for the one he likes.
And what does this guy do for a living? What does he
Priestcraft.
read? No. Does he read the Bible word for word?
That's a really good point.
No, literally, he does priestcraft.
Yes, that's true. But does he read the Bible word for word? the entire time on
He's
his...
a talk show host, so he explains it.
He explains it, doesn't
Well,
he?
sufficiency.
Wait a second. Are people going to get something more than just the scriptures when they're listening to his podcast?
That's a good point.
So this guy is sitting here as the hypocrite that he is, saying that the chosen is wrong for doing anything outside of what the exact scriptures say when he is using things outside of what the scriptures say to say that.
First, that's a very good point. Second, I've never seen you get so animated. Okay. And third, that is such a good point.
It's just such rank hypocrisy.
If the Bible were so sufficient, why would you have to explain it?
Yeah, if he really believed in the sufficiency of the Bible, his entire show would be just him reading it out loud.
These guys would be Quakers. They would put the Bible in a room and sit around it, and that's it. You wouldn't need a pastor or priest. You certainly wouldn't need creeds.
Oh, dude. Okay, well, let's finish here.
He doesn't believe in the sufficiency
Poor
of the Bible.
Dallas
He's a
Jenkins.
freaking charlatan.
Oh, man. You are
Seriously?
getting angry.
Yeah, of course I am. Look at this dude.
It's that new shirt you
He's-
got from
no,
Banana Republic.
I'm-
It's
It's just bugging me because he's attacking somebody who is actually going and doing something good in the world.
yes.
And then saying like, well, he's doing it wrong. It's like you are the one who is clearly doing this wrong.
yeah, and I don't get why in the Bible the apostles approach Jesus and say, look, there's these other guys like performing miracles and healings in thy name. They're like doing these really good things, but we didn't authorize it. And he's like, dude, if they're not against us, they're for us, dude. So just like, let them, they're doing good things, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, okay, so let's keep going. There's 1 minute left. We'll see how well this goes.
When we add historical or cultural or artistic context and backstory into the show, that changes nothing about the Bible itself.
Which is, by the way, this is what they've been doing in all the paintings in the Sistine Chapel and all of those stained glass artwork that they've been putting in cathedrals for millennia. There's no daguerreotype picture of Jesus, so we can say this picture is sufficient. We've always had to interpret what he looked like. Why do you think the Danish statue looks really Danish and the Ethiopian Jesus looks really Ethiopian? You know what I'm saying?
Ethiopian Jesus.
Oh, Ethiopian. Sorry.
No, but yeah, oh man, I'm blown away. But keep him going.
This is his drunk face. Like on a Wednesday night. Like, by the way, you'll notice that evangelicals never talk out against booze and alcohol. They always cut out a niche for that, saying, well, Jesus, he drank his wine, because they weren't ever going to give that up. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let's keep going.
The Bible is enough to stir our affections, at least it should be, if we adhere to the principle of sola scriptura. There's a reason the early church...
Again, why are you not just reading the Bible then?
Yeah.
Come
Why
on,
are there
dude.
any other
By the way,
books?
that word's not in the Bible.
Sola scriptura.
Not in there.
That is so
You know what's not
true.
in the word? You know what's not in the Bible?
What?
The word Bible.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you're right. La Biblia. Okay, I get what you're saying.
Like
So-
the Bible never says all you need is just this, because it didn't come out at once. It wasn't an album that dropped at midnight.
Yeah.
You had to download it. It's a collection.
Yeah.
It's a collection.
You're true. I mean, that's true. La Biblioteca de Babel. No, so anyway, actually, that's a book by Jorge Luis Borges. So anyway, we're going to keep going with our buddy who prefers segregated water fountains.
Oh my gosh.
The
Scripturally,
Chosen.
of course.
rejected the apocryphal books, it's because they weren't the words of Jesus, and they knew the danger of consuming those books. And we should recognize that danger too.
Wait, rewind. When he said, who was the ones who...
Oh, who's the ones that got rid of it? He just
reformers.
says the reformers and the fathers. He just makes generalized terms. Let's do it again.
Scriptura. There's a reason the early church rejected the apocryphal books. It's because they weren't the words of Jesus, and they knew the danger of consuming those books. And we should recognize that danger too. And that leads me to...
By the way, anybody that says the danger of consuming those books, like, I'm sorry, that is literally... That's why they had book burnings, because authoritative people who only use appeals to authority and circular reasoning are so afraid of people thinking for themselves that they would rather burn the book.
This is why I say it's elitism. This is why Protestantism is what elites want you to believe.
Yeah.
I'll give you one better than book burning, people burning. Their guy.
Calvin.
John Calvin is their guy. He lit people on fire. The
Yeah.
dude was literally a terrorist in every single way.
Yeah.
And like when he just throws it out there as though the early church got rid of the Apocrypha when it was in the original King James version of the Bible.
Yeah.
And like the Apocrypha has been around in different places. Like what gave you the authority to take it out?
It was these books were so important, they buried them
Yeah.
in pots and hid them in a cave.
And found
And
them
we
at the Dead
discovered
Sea
them in the
Scrolls.
1940s. This guy sitting in his renovated bathroom as a set is going, well, the early church didn't believe. They believed it so much they made sure they risked their lives to hide it before the oncoming army came
that's
to murder
a
them.
really good point. Like the Masoretic texts were literally lifelong endeavors by scribes who would count the number of characters that they were copying in order to make sure that not one letter of the word of God was lost. And, these Dead Sea Scrolls, the story was behind them of entire communities clutching their last and final thing as the Romans are invading, or as like the Assyrians or the Babylonians are invading, or whoever it was, like choosing to take as that one thing from the burning building their sacred writings and then sacrificing their lives in order to do what they at best could perceive as preserving them. Do I believe the dude that died for that cause? Or do I believe the somewhat well-dressed, slightly better-looking uncle of Joel Osteen when he says like, well, theology, it matters. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm sorry, I will not disbelieve the man who's died for his cause over this cheap suited version that, yes, it does look like he remodeled his bathroom and he's doing a Zoom call from, inside the banyo.
Yeah, with his IKEA plant.
With his IKEA plant.
Literally,
that is some false doctrine for you. They got plastic plants in their studio. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. That was a bad joke. Let's go.
Number 3.
Oh!
Blasphemy. The Chosen is fiction that literally puts words into the mouth of Jesus that he didn't speak. I'm all for having a sanctified imagination, but anytime we imagine what Jesus might have said, we are headed into the Kenny Loggins zone. It's downright dangerous to put words into the mouth of God himself. Not only that, it's offensive. Let me ask you, if you wrote a book for your kids with every single thing you believe that they needed to know, but someone came along and said, I'm writing a book with additional words that you might have spoken.
Oh, holy.
How would you
Seriously?
It's not like Dallas Jenkins wrote a new scripture. Sorry for my language writer. He made a TV show. You're trying to hold a show at the same weight as scripture. Secondly, he doesn't believe this because he's a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy is always putting words in the mouth of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and by the way, what do you think the parables were other than made up stories to illustrate important topics? It's okay if we don't know exactly where Jesus was for 14 years.
Also,
If we're making a movie and we need a subtle transition.
why would it be called the gospel according to Matthew? The gospel according to Luke. That means, because guess what? And they're not all the same. There's part where they contradict, and Jesus says slightly different things. So who is right? Who is right? That's what the Bible is. It's not written by Jesus himself.
Uh-huh.
So they're all putting
words in his mouth.
This really is a mental illness.
Well,
It's like OCD. It's like,
I'm still hung up on his Kenny Loggins joke. I have no idea what that meant.
oh, he made, I was going to say that's like a big time boomer joke, but he made highway to the danger zone.
Oh my gosh.
So
I had
he
no
was saying
idea.
that you're on the way to the danger zone of blasphemy if you end up putting words into Jesus's
and
mouth.
he's going to be the one to determine if it's blasphemy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the guy.
Because he's the authority.
And he's the one that theologically justified segregated bathrooms. So, you know what I'm saying? That's the guy you want running your show, right? So, okay, here, let's go. Last, 30 seconds here. Let's see what he's got to say.
Should you watch The Chosen? You have the liberty to do so. It just doesn't seem wise to consume Jesus.
Because, I just figured this out. They're really afraid that if they get to know, this guy is truly afraid. if people get to know, dare I say, what Jesus might have actually really been like, they'll realize how big of a farce evangelicalism is, especially the Protestantism
This
that
guy's
guy
brand
pushes.
Yeah. This guy's brand for sure.
Yeah, they'll realize that Jesus Christ was an accessible God, was a father-like God, was a loving God that wanted you to progress and become co-participants in his glory, much like a father. And he chose the title father, not because it was simple, so that the troglodytes would have something to use instead of my great geothermal steam, water, and air Trinitarian unity, eternal, omniscient, and omnipresent ethereal being. Was
you
a
sound
mouthful.
like an atheist right now.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. It's like he is afraid that if people watch The Chosen, they will get to know Jesus Christ in a way that doesn't seem like the Jesus Christ he has taught from the pulpit for 30 years. So he attacks The Chosen instead of venerating The Chosen for what it is, because he also knows that the more people get to know Jesus Christ, the more they realize the Mormon version of Jesus is closer to reality than his.
Which, honestly, I think is the version of Jesus Christ that the majority of Christians I've ever spoken to believe in.
Yeah.
There's this weird creation that this guy has in his head, that where the creation of Jesus is the most important aspect, not the way that he loved us and taught us to love one another, not the way that he loved God and showed us how to do that in life. Like,
Yeah.
why is it that he makes up this weird little criteria that shows up later and says, oh, well, we disagree on this little tiny aspect, and now we're saying that your theology is bad now, and we can never be on the same page? That's just stupid.
Yeah. So here we go. Last little tidbit right here.
Fiction, especially Jesus fiction that's influenced by Mormon and Roman Catholic theology. So if you do choose The Chosen, I contend that it would be wise to ask yourself these questions. 1, did Jesus really say that? 2, am I in danger of believing apocryphal literature about Jesus? 3, is there a reason The Chosen moves me when the Bible does not? Why isn't the Bible sufficient? Theology.
Okay. Heaven forbid you're moved by a visual experience that also attacks your ears, your eyes, and the subsonic compressions from the great sound system in the theater if you watched it through Fathom Events like we did. He's literally asking people to wonder why a audio-visual presentation in surround sound might be more impactful than reading a book in size 10 font on a rainy day in your living room. Like, I'm sorry, but like, there's plenty of just psychosomatic reasons why you might be moved by the Sermon on the Mount as told by Dallas Jenkins.
And to be fair, I think it's a reasonable thing to ask yourself. Like, if I do think that if you were somebody who is only watching The Chosen and you're never reading the Bible, you're probably doing it wrong. You should also read the Bible.
Why are you listening to Christian rock music? Why are you moved by worship music when you have the Bible?
You know,
Is the Bible not something?
And also, he is about to go on another post-biblical rant that undermines his whole sufficiency argument.
This guy's everything he says can be used against him.
Yes.
Why do you need his show when you have the Bible? It's like these people create their own freaking graves and they fall in them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really like that term that you put up, post-biblical. And I was going to say something else that was super good, but you guys had so many, it was like rat-a-tat-tat, like a machine gun. I forgot what my good point was.
Oh no.
So we're just going to have to go and keep going here. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what else Homeboy has to say.
Matters. The sufficiency of Scripture, it matters. When we blaspheme God, it matters.
Oh wait, I just remembered that you said something very wise, Brad, where you said, okay, in all fairness, it's fair to say, why does The Chosen move you when the Bible doesn't? Okay. And I think that is a fair question to ask. Like, nothing replaces reading the actual scripture. And I'll tell you, it moves me because I've read the scriptures and I see how they beautifully actually embodied what Jesus Christ said.
Well, look at the manipulation, though.
Yeah.
He made this assumption that those who enjoy The Chosen don't enjoy the Bible.
Yeah, that's
he made
true.
that assumption and asked the question.
That's true.
And notice, he's not coming out and saying you shouldn't watch it, but that's what he's saying. He's not saying Dallas Jenkins is an apostate, but that's what he's saying. And he's ending this entire video with the why it's bad. Here's why it's bad. It's a subpar Jesus. It puts words in his mouth. This whole thing is an attack, but he's too much of a tampon to come out and do it directly. So he's sitting there in his little bathroom office with his little IKEA plants and his Target tie, and he's tried to attack someone who's doing far more good in the world.
Yeah. And, we'll just let him.
Should we send this guy a Chosen t-shirt?
Yeah. Oh, that'd be hilarious.
mail
I
it
was
to
going to
him.
say, what are we going to title this thumbnail? Because, like, I thought about how to be a religious bigot in 3 easy steps, but I was like, no, that's not too clickbaity. These guys absolutely hate the Mormon association with The Chosen, and I think it would be hilarious just to title it. If we title it like 3 biblical reasons not to watch The Chosen, whatever, that'll just get buried in all the other 3 biblical reasons not to do anything part of YouTube.
Say Wretched Radio was wrong about The Chosen and Mormons.
Or I would just say, yes, The Chosen is Mormon. Just watch him. Just watch him get angry, right?
Dallas is like, no, please stop.
Don't make my life harder. So sorry, Dallas, but we're just going to have to title this one, yes, The Chosen is Mormon. All right. One last minute. That's all I can handle of this. All right, here we go.
You sure The Chosen is the best theology for your soul?
Oh, is there a sketch at the end of this? What is this?
Oh, it's his commercial where he asks for money. I've seen it before.
Wait, play it.
Okay, he literally talks about how knowledgeable he is. Okay.
Hey,
Time.
sweetie.
Take her around the block a few times.
Who's a good girl? You're not, because nobody does good. No, not one. Romans 5 says we're born in sin and iniquity, and our hearts are deceitful and wicked. You know that if you'd use the law, which brings about the knowledge
That's
of
actually
sin.
really funny.
Todd is only good at one job. That's Wretched. Okay, well, at least he recognizes he's only capable of inducing shame. You know what I'm saying? Like, he basically just advertised for his priestcraft, leveraging the point that all I'm good at is shaming innocent people. You know what I'm saying? All right. So, any final thoughts before we jam here?
Man,
Any final thoughts?
I wonder what that guy would say if we were able to talk with him and see what he actually thinks. Would he just like hide behind a smoke screen of like what he thinks Mormons believe, or would he actually do what I think would be the Christian thing to do and actually talk to us, listen, and understand?
Would he admit some of it's a little bit of a gag?
Maybe. Maybe it would be. I wonder, because that's part of, after seeing that, how much of this is
Wretched Radio? Like, does he get up in the morning and be like, who wants cereal?
He's,
You know
he's
what I'm
kind of
saying?
like the Ace Ventura of like online theology. But yeah, I don't know. I just,
Okay, so
yeah.
evangelicals, friends of the of the Christian evangelical persuasion and cloth, please reach out. Let us know where we go wrong here, because I don't see how you can hate The Chosen from any sort of biblical perspective, especially with all of the due diligence that Dallas Jenkins did. And if The Chosen is guilty of anything Mormon, it's representing Jesus in such a biblical way that he actually seems a lot more Mormon than you ever thought he was, which, dare I say, kind of proves that, Mormon's got a point. So anyway, let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going. This is Midnight Mormons. We'll see you guys later. Hey guys, Cardinellis here again. Thank you so much for spending the time to watch this video with us. We know that you have a lot of things you could be doing right now with your attention, but you chose to spend it with us. For that, we are grateful. If you would like to express your thanks, please let us know you liked the video by pressing the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure you've subscribed. About 42% of our viewers have yet to create a YouTube account. I know a lot of people are averse to that idea, but if you create an account and you subscribe to our channel, you will be alerted of most of the videos that come out. If you would like to be alerted of all of our videos, which is what we recommend, please press the bell icon next to the subscribe button. And nothing beats sharing this video with your friends. If you came across this video for the first time and you like our content, please consider sharing this with some of your buddies, some of your friends, your grandmother. Let them know that there's good stuff on Midnight Mormons. And if you are a person of means and you would consider sponsoring the channel, please reach out on our website. If you're of more modest means, please consider joining the channel. You can become a member of our channel, or you can also give us a contribution through Venmo. We can be found at Midnight Mormons on Venmo. No matter what, we're happy that you're here. We're grateful that you stay and you hang out. Please keep watching. And if you want to see more of this content, remember, like, share, subscribe, or die. Just kidding. This is Midnight Mormons. We'll see you in the next program.